the amount of overwhelm, perfectionism, comparison, all the fun things, the amount that my brain is doing right now is actively killing me. I'm not getting anything done, and I just keep getting in my own head. And I don't really know what that is, but here's what I do about it. One of the things that I had done to become like a consistent exerciser after the accident was to just take it day by day and just do something. So that's my first plan of attack, is to make a habit of doing something the priority and not worry too much about how much time, what the overall outcome is. I just need to push a little bit, move the needle a little bit to get myself into a frame of mind in which I'm not just like, make it so there's not enough space in my head maybe for those things. It's just, there's got to be something. And I feel like that's a good place to start, is to just focus on that habit, even if it's just a little bit every day, just to feel like I'm getting a little bit of momentum. I think that's going to be rather necessary in this instance. One of the things that I also do is procrastination through education. And that one is really hard, right? Because there's so many things I'm learning how to do right now. And I find myself going down rabbit holes of things that I don't really need yet. And even if I make notes about it for the future, I'm gonna lose the note. Like, I'm going to lose the note. It's gonna be somewhere, I'm not gonna find it. So I'm just gonna stick with just learning the lessons as I go. I'm pretty sure I'm making this video just for myself. But if it helps somebody else, I wanted to share. I'm just gonna stick with just learning what I need to in the moment on that day, and having that squared away. The other thing I did was just kind of stayed in the moment in terms of just checking something off the list, just get something done, and not beat myself up over whether I didn't do a whole lot or whether I didn't take a whole lot of time, whether I just didn't accomplish that much. I just really need to just get in the rhythm and help facilitate that flow. I think if I just get more into like the flow of it, then maybe then maybe there won't be as much room in my head for the beating up and comparison, and just, I don't know, man. It's hard. It's really hard to get out of that funk sometimes. And I remember I would get into it a lot of times with fitness, like throughout like a lot of my life, was just feeling like just kind of fumbling through, with it, and sticking with the habit. And I finally did it once, after the accident, and I really connected with myself and with my body and prioritized the habit and just did what I could to feel like I was gaining some momentum, especially when the goal of recovery, it was a long, long recovery, and I have a lot of residual issues now from it. But because the goal was so far away, and because even just the goal itself, it was like I wasn't really sure how things were going to pan out, what my body was going to be like. So instead of focusing so much on like the big overall goal, I really had to just go inward and really focus in on the moment and the one rep at a time, the one exercise at a time, and just stay with it and just stay connected. And there's something about that. It really does kind of flip things around, because being that present, you can't help but acknowledge what you're doing and how much work you're putting in, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna do that. But I also don't want to give myself too many like things to remember and too many rules. So I think I'll just write it on a whiteboard and block out the time each day that I had it. So some days it might be a little bit more time, some days might be a little bit less. But I think I'm gonna give myself a baseline, like an easy baseline of 10 minutes a day, of doing something for 10 minutes a day in this goal. And then if I can get into a flow state, or if I had a little bit more time, I can pour more into it. But I think that just having like a minimum baseline will, I know that will kind of help me at least know that on the crummy days, I just have to get through 10 minutes. I just have to do it. I actually saw this thing, it was a workshop that I attended, and this lady was talking about how she wrote an entire book simply by dedicating 5 minutes a day. And it was the same kind of concept. Some days she would get into a flow state and write a whole bunch of stuff, and then other days she would just struggle through the 5 minutes. But even like the little bits, just some of the chicken scratching, just some of the notes she had written on those 5 minute days did trigger some ideas and some thoughts and some creativity on the other ones. So it was like none of it was wasted. Like it wasn't like this idea.
I did this for 5 minutes, but it was just like a waste of time.
And even if it is a waste of time, or you feel like it is, or nothing really comes out of it, that wasn't the point to begin with. It was the habit. So, but I think that's going to be my plan going forward. I know it works. I guess I just wanted to make something if you're in it too. Just a quick, dirty. I'm out here in nature. I'm right by the river. I came out here to just think about it and to decompress a little bit and let my mind just kind of like run. And that helped a lot, actually. That helped a lot. And I feel like just getting it out, getting it down, and reminding myself of the tools that I do have in the kit that I'm neglecting and pretending like I don't have. I think I just mostly needed to acknowledge that that it's going to be okay. There are ways around this, and there are ways to like push through that don't have to be painful, you know? And I recently came across, I know he's been around for like a long time, but that guy, Ali Abdaal, he's a productivity guy. And I'll link his channel below if you don't know who he is. He talks about things that I've like internally told myself, which is, you know, what would this look like if it were fun? What would this be like if it wasn't just a complete slog all the time? I feel like that's just such a misconception. I think it's a little misguided. We don't always have to grind, you know, really so hard. Things can unfold, you know? Like we get so wrapped up in the amount of time that things will take or the amount of time it's going to take to reach a goal when in reality we don't really actually know for sure, you know? Something can come up. Sometimes things get sped up, sometimes they're delayed. And in either instance, it can be a good thing. It could actually all work out just as well. You never know, you know? So instead of thinking about things in like this like what if all of that, I'm just coming back to present. I'm just going to come back to present and make things a little more enjoyable to help with that momentum. Yeah, there'll be slogs. But if I'm giving myself the permission to shorten the time and just to get little bits done, then I'll have that momentum to expand on it. Anyway, these are just today's thoughts on today's walk. I'll show you the river. It's really pretty.